Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek. A bit of Stargate news. By the way, apologies if I appear a bit bleary-eyed. Being old, I nodded off in my chair for an hour earlier on. Totally unexpected. I was watching, a bit of YouTube, nodded off. Woke up, missed most of the thing I was watching. Anyway, so a bit of Stargate news, as you can tell from the old ring diagnostics going on in the background. Right, anyway, apparently Amazon's new Stargate series may already be in trouble before it's been announced. It might not even happen. But with an interesting development on that, well, not a development, but an interesting a note I'm going to add to this. Right, anyway, so let's have a look. This is from Giant Freaking Robot, everybody's favourite factual website. But again, as I said before, when they use Giant Freaking Robot, they're just quoting somebody else, so you can't blame them. By the way, speaking of Stargate, on a more sombre note, Julian Sands, who appeared in Stargate SG-1 Seasons 9 and 10 as the Orisai, is still missing. He hasn't been found yet. There's been no trace of the actor. And it's been more than 2 weeks now since he disappeared while he went hiking in California in the San Gabriel Mountains. His hiking partner has come forward and said something that's obviously gone wrong, and obviously everybody's worried for him. What's he saying? His hiking partner is called Kevin Ryan. Yeah, and he says Julian's such an advanced hiker. It's what he did. His whole life he was climbing mountains. It was a true passion of his. He's beyond experienced, and I'm hoping that he's tucked away somewhere and can pull through, and that's what we're all hoping. But there's still no sign of him. They've not found him. It's a mystery. He's just vanished. I hope he is found soon. So I just thought I'd give you that little update. Right, back to things on a slightly lighter note. By the way, links in the description. Don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos. I'm pointing, but you can't see. There we go. Like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell. I'm also on Rumble and Anchor.fm, and Spotify, and Amazon Music Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you want to follow me on there. Not that I do a lot. Cat pictures. My cat trying to push me out of bed, stuff like that. But links for all that's in the description, as are the links for my books. There you go, Silent Predator. That's just a novella. It's a thin one. It's not very expensive. Bit of horror to chill you. Although it's not spooky horror. It's other horror, gory horror. And Mercury Rapids, light-hearted UFO action adventure. That's a big thick one. That's a bit more expensive, but they're both available on Twitter. What am I talking about? On Kindle and paperback, but Kindle's cheaper. It's just a bit of fun. Right, Amazon's new Stargate series may already be in trouble. Stargate's new series was notably absent from recent developmental slate announced from MGM. I think I did a video about this, didn't I? I think I did anyway, I can't remember. And there's SG-1 with Richard Dean Anderson as Jack O'Neill. I think the last time we talked about Stargate, it showed the Season 10 one with Cameron Mitchell leading SG-1, but there's the OG SG-1. In a sign that could mean a few different things, but likely nothing good, Stargate's latest series has been left off of the MGM Plus programming slate. Gateworld noticed the omission, and even since then, no news has been shared by MGM, the franchise holders, or Amazon. I told you I nodded off, I'm all bleary. Amazon, MGM's new owner. Could it be that the first new Stargate series in over a decade has already been consumed by the Wraith while no one was looking? MGM Plus, formerly Epix, was the most likely destination for a new Stargate series in the wake of Amazon's commitment to run the service apart from its own Prime Video. MGM Plus originals include Forest Whitaker's Godfather of Harlem, A Spy Among Friends, Billy the Kid, and sci-fi series From, or is it FROM? I don't know. In addition, excuse me, In addition, the television department is working on series for other services, including Wednesday on Netflix and The Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. Stargate's noticeable absence from the slate of developmental programming is especially distressing now that most companies are cutting back on original programming. Even shows that have been renewed are no longer safe, as evidenced by AMC and Netflix, both cancelling shows after an initial promise of more seasons. Sadly, for the cult hit sci-fi franchise, being an afterthought is nothing new. Originally a feature film starring James Spader and Kurt Russell, Stargate was directed by disaster film master Roland Emmerich before he relaunched his career with Independence Day. Spader played Daniel Jackson, an Egyptologist recruited by the Army under the command of Russell's Colonel Jack O'Neill, I think the Air Force, not the Army, to help decipher the mystery of the Stargate found buried in Giza, or at Giza, whatever. After discovering the Stargate was a gateway to a distant planet, the US military went to war against Ra. There was a handful of them that went through and they couldn't get home until Daniel Jackson could work out the point of origin symbol for Abydos, but they didn't call it Abydos in the original film. Went to war against Ra J. Davidson, an alien that was indeed the mythological Egyptian god of the sun. Well, he was pretending to be. He was portraying himself as a god, as the series would expand. Following the success of the film, a Showtime series was developed that recast O'Neill and Jackson with Richard Dean Anderson and Michael Shanks respectively. Stargate SG-1 lasted 10 seasons and was a cornerstone for MGM during a time when it desperately needed a hit. After season 5, the show moved to the Sci-Fi Network, helping to support the fledgling cable channel in its dark days just before Battlestar Galactica was relaunched. And there's Jason Momoa as Ronan Dex in Stargate Atlantis. 2 more series followed. Stargate Atlantis, which starred a young Jason Momoa. He wasn't that young. Only a few years before, it hit the big time. And Stargate Universe, with each being similar to Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager in the broadcast science fiction strokes. Both shows continued the trend of being successful, but not on the level of the major franchises, or even its companion sci-fi series, Battlestar Galactica, although Stargate Universe did try to be a bit Battlestar Galactica-y, didn't it? With its shaky cams and stuff. It's put a lot of fans off. But it did get better. Unfortunately, it was cancelled. In 2011, Universe was cancelled after just 2 seasons. And other than more promises of further films that included a remake trilogy of the first film, very little has been with the franchise. Whatever. In moves similar to the recent announcement of a new series, the remake trilogy was announced and promised by creatives involved at the very top of the franchise, including Brad Wright, the creator, writer and producer of all things Stargate. Wright is the same producer that announced the upcoming television series in 2020, offering updates in the years since, including the return of Shanks, Anderson and Amanda Tapping. While things don't look good now for Stargate, that can always change, especially since a summer of sci-fi action film was never expected to spawn decades worth. Especially since a summer sci-fi action film was never expected to spawn decades worth of cerebral television episodes. Currently, every series of the Stargate franchise can be seen streaming on, this is if you're in America, Tubi. While it never challenged Star Trek or Star Wars, the franchise still has legions of followers around the world and is running fan conventions to this day. If Star Wars can get a new leash. If Star Wars can get a new lease of life on a streaming service when everything was going wrong for it, then maybe someday Stargate will get a new streaming series that shows the world just how amazing the universe can be. Oh, that's it. So, even though they've not announced a new Stargate series, they must know now, this thing I'm going to show you in a moment, that fans do want a new Stargate series. There's regular Twitter, Twitter things where they have, a Stargate, hashtags, we want Stargate, stuff like that. I forgot what they call it. That stuff anyway. I'm old, I don't know what the kids say these days. They happen quite regularly, and Stargate were trending the other day. Trending #1 on Twitter for some reason. But as I'll show you now. Where have I put it? They had a poll. I think it was Amazon Prime. I think it was New Zealand or whatever. They had a poll and they said, "What is your favourite star?" Star. And they've got Star Trek, Star Wars, Stargate, and I was surprised at the results of the poll. There it is. Which star is your favourite? Star Trek 13%, Star Wars 18%, Stargate 65%. Oh, that's Star is Born 3%. 878 votes, and that's the final result. That's amazing for me. I mean, this is you know, it says it's Prime Video Australia, New Zealand, but it was a worldwide vote, you know, because I voted on it. I'm not in Australia or New Zealand. So 65% of the vote with Stargate. So I hope Prime Video's taking note of that, and they start doing something with Stargate. So there you go. So that's interesting. Jay over at Sidetrek has done a video. I think today he did it about a Stargate movie that he's heard about. That may or may not happen. I think he's not sure if it's going to happen. It could or couldn't. And he's got some info on that. So I'll put a link for that video in the description. So maybe things are going to happen with Stargate. Although, you know, it was a bit grim looking when they didn't announce it in their slate. So maybe it's still in development and it's not ready to be announced yet. Maybe it's still early days. I don't know. But I've got a feeling, especially with that poll has sort of like, it brightened my day, I must admit. Prime Video, Amazon, they must know now that there is an appetite for Stargate out there. I've been rewatching it, by the way, on Amazon. I resubscribed to the MGM app on Amazon, and I've been watching Stargate, and it's brilliant. I love it. I love Stargate. Great stuff. So there we go. So I'll leave it there. I will leave it there. Bit of Stargate news. Started off sad, but in my opinion, it ended up happy. It ended up happy. The fans want Stargate. Are you listening, Amazon? They do. Right, so thanks for watching. Wherever you are in the universe, look after each other, and until next time, I'll say thee.